Hello friends, let's discuss current affairs for the week. We begin with a question on the New Development Bank. The New Development Bank, as you know, was previously called the BRICS Bank, having been started by the 5 BRICS players. To repeat, the 5 BRICS players would be, Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. Over the years, the name of the BRICS Bank has changed to New Development Bank, and so has its membership. As of today, its members include Algeria, which is not, mind you, please, Algeria is a part of, the New Development Bank. So is Bangladesh. Okay, I'm writing in short, and of course, you need to appreciate the fact that Algeria, Bangladesh are not members of the New Development BRICS, but yes, they are part of the New Development Bank. So is the South American nation of Uruguay. So 3 countries that are not members of the BRICS but are members of the New Development Bank. To repeat, Algeria, Bangladesh and Uruguay. Now, Algeria, as you would know, is the biggest country in Africa by area and of course population as well. Let me take you to the New Development Bank. It's headquartered in Shanghai. Okay, and its president is, as you can know, Dilma Rousseff. She is a former president of Brazil. Okay, and she was, of course, charged with misappropriation and everything. But let's not get there. Now, if you look at these members, yes, the BRICS have 10 members. Okay, the 5 plus 6 would be Ethiopia, 7 would be Egypt, 8th, would be the United Arab Emirates, 9th, if I'm not wrong, is Iran, and 10th would be Indonesia. Okay, so these are the members, my friends. There we go. All of the BRICS stuff has come through this. At the 2025 Partnership for Healthy Cities Summit, which city was honored by the World Health Organization for its achievement in preventing non-communicable diseases. All 3 were. Okay, Cordoba was, for its food policy. So there are 3 different categories: Cordoba, Argentina, food categories. Fortaleza, Brazil, for the air quality, and Greater Manchester, as you would know, this is in Britain, and this was honored for extending smoke-free spaces. Smoke-free spaces. So the city is generally considered to be, a non-smoker's paradise. But then let's not get there again. Yeah. So a bit about the WHO. Yes. The World Health Organization was established on 7th April 1948, and consequently 7th April is considered the World Health Day. Ladies and gentlemen, World Health Organization is headquartered in Geneva, and its president, its director general is a guy called Tedros Adhanom. Tedros Adhanom. Dr. Tedros Adhanom of Ethiopia. What is it? Ethiopia. So we got all the 3. Yeah. Let's go to the next one, my friends. Now let's look at this Gnanpith Award, India's highest literary award. You could say this is, the Nobel Prize for Literature in India. Ladies and gentlemen, who has been elected for the 59th Gnanpith Award for 2024, considered the country's highest literary award. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is Vinod Kumar Shukla. He belongs to Chhattisgarh, born in 1937. Vinodji has written plenty of works, especially in Hindi. Yeah, in Hindi actually. And he is a poet and prose writer. His most famous work is, I haven't read anything of his works, but I'm intrigued and I plan to read his book, दीवार में एक खिड़की रहती थी. दीवार में एक खिड़की रहती थी. Sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, the title is great. So, दीवार में एक खिड़की रहती थी also helped him receive the 1968 Sahitya Academy Award for Best Hindi Work. For the Best Hindi Work, this is a spelling AKA. Best Hindi Work, I think it was in 1969 sometime. Okay. So, Vinod Kumar Shukla, Sahitya Academy Award, for the best Hindi work, and this was titled "Diwar mein ek khidki rehti thi." From there, of course, let's go. And by the way, this was started. The award was set up in 1961, 60, but it was the first was given in 1965 to the great Malayalam writer G. Shankara Kurup. Shankara Kurup. Yeah. Have you read Amitav Ghosh? If you haven't read, please read. Amitav Ghosh is a master storyteller. I have particularly liked his books called the Ibis Trilogy. IBIS, or you could say Ibis Trilogy. This is Sea of Poppies, River of Smoke, and Flood of Fire. 3 books on this immigrant experience, especially in countries like Mauritius and China and all these places. The novels actually. From there, we could go to the next one. World Water Day is being observed, is always observed on 22nd March, every year that is. And this year's theme is glacier preservation. You could say glacier or glacier, both are fine pronunciations. Glacier or glacier is a vast moving sheet of ice, but it moves at a snail's pace, slower than a snail's pace. So, a glacier or a glacier is a slow moving vast sheet of ice. Okay, and most of these glaciers could be found in the Hindu Kush mountains, my friends. Okay, so we need to preserve glaciers because they keep feeding the rivers. Like you have the Himalayan rivers, Brahmaputra, we have the Ganga, the Yamuna, plenty of rivers. If the glaciers disappear, then these rivers, which today are perennial, could become seasonal, and it could endanger the lives of millions of people who subsist on these rivers. Of course, that also includes for agriculture needs. Shahid Divas or Martyrs Day is observed on 23rd March to honor the sacrifices of all 3, the great Bhagat Singh, the great Shivam Rajguru, and Sukhdev. Now, I want to tell you that they were all hung to death on 23rd March 1931. There is a reason behind this. Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, and Chandrasekhar Azad wanted to take revenge for the death of the great freedom fighter Lala Lajpat Rai. Now, Lala Lajpat Rai was leading a group of protesters against the atrocities of, the British. And there was this British guy called James Scott, Scott, James Scott, who ordered a lathi charge on the crowd. In this lathi charge, Lala Lajpat Rai was injured, seriously injured. 2 weeks later, he died not just of the injuries but also a heart attack. To avenge the death of Lala Lajpat Rai, Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, let's call him in short, Rajguru, Bhagatji and Rajguruji, what they did was they planned to kill James Scott. But unfortunately for them, they could not kill James Scott. They instead, in a case of mistaken identity, killed another British officer named John Saunders, Saunders, John Saunders. Now, at the same time, while they had killed this guy, Chandrasekhar Azad was around and he killed another constable to help these 2 guys escape from this. But later they were caught and unfortunately they were all hung to death, my friends. Great men, people whose sacrifices have helped live free lives today, my friends, in a free, independent India. So, there we go. which has become the first Indian state to pass a law to set up a commission for elderly persons or senior citizens. Kerala has become one. See, we have had this, policy since 2011, but no state has come forward to set up a commission for the protection, for the welfare of senior citizens. In India, only Kerala has come forward for that. Now, one more thing, my friends. Uh, Kerala also is the fastest aging state in India. Okay, the TFR, total fertility rate, is quite low there, and consequently, fewer people are joining the labor, population. Fewer births. More people are living longer because of longer longevity, higher longevity, would mean that people are living longer, which also means that there is a greater population of senior citizens in Kerala. But of late, and this is what the government says, a lot of senior citizens are suffering at the hands of younger generations. They are being maltreated by their children, grandchildren, and all. So we need, the state government said, we need to protect our senior citizens, and consequently, they have set up a commission. No other news other than, no other clarity other than the idea of setting up a commission for senior citizens has come. See, India is a young nation. The median age in India is about 29, 28.9, take me 29. America is about 44, China is about 38, Japan is about 49. So, a lot of places are aging pretty fast, my friends. India is also aging, but not at a pace as the developed world is. Yeah. According to inflation-adjusted data from the IMF, identify the correct statement regarding India's GDP. While India has doubled its GDP in the last 10 years, yes, at a growth rate of 100, means doubled basically, consequently. India's GDP in 2015 was a little over $2 trillion. A trillion would mean 1,000 billion, my friend. So when you say 2 trillion, it's 2,000 billion, okay? So we have India's GDP going up to $2 trillion, from $2 trillion to a little over $4 trillion. And today we are the 5th largest economy. So ladies and gentlemen, what are the 4 largest economies? The 4 bigger ones, I mean, higher than, higher GDP than India's. So 1, United States. I'm ranking, so no dots, please, okay? In America's GDP is $30.3 trillion. So these are all USD, my friends. USD, United States dollar. 2, China. I am writing in single decimal, 19.5. Okay. 3, Germany. 4.9. 4, Japan. $4.4 trillion. We are in the 5th place, 4.3. Most likely will overtake Japan this year, and by the end of 2025, we will be the 4th largest economy, and by 2027 or 28, we will be the 3rd largest economy. See, Germany is not growing. Last 2 years, Germany's growth has contracted. It is actually sunk. It is producing low. See, in 2024, it produced less than, its GDP was less than what it was in 2023. And in 2023, it produced less than what it produced in 2022. So, 2 consecutive years of degrowth, contraction. And that has brought down Germany, my friends. Okay. So, from there, we could go to the next one, which is about Zomato. We all are familiar with this company, my friends. Food delivery company, quick commerce company. They have this Blinkit, which also, is what is called a quick service delivery. Yeah, delivery company, quick service delivery company. Which company has received the Corporate Affairs Ministry's approval to change its name to corporate name? Not we will still call it Zomato, but Zomato's parent company will be called Eternal Limited. Okay, Zomato was started, my friends, by 2 persons, Dipinder Goyal and Pankaj Chadda. The proper nouns, you could have a double H also, no problem. Yeah. So 2 guys started Zomato, Dipinder Goyal and Pankaj Chadda. From there, let's go to, one more, Swiggy. Swiggy is a huge company, a big rival of Zomato, of course. It was started by three guys, Sri Harsha Majeti, Nandan Reddy, and Rahul. I am not writing in full. Rahul Jaimini. So these three guys started Swiggy. Okay. Could we look at one more? I guess, yeah. Meesho. We are all familiar with Meesho. The name comes from me show, my shop. Me show. Show is shop, basically. So Vidit Atre and Sanjeev Banwal. These two guys started Meesho. So I just love to give extra information because see, if I just tell you a little about Zomato, there is no value add, isn't it? Yeah. So from there, we could go to the next one, which is about Kabaddi. We had discussed this question. We had discussed this idea of the World Cup Kabaddi Championship or Kabaddi World Cup Championship. Both the men's and the women's titles were won by India, and in both cases, the runners-up team was from England. Okay, the champion was India, both the men's World Cup as well as women's World Cup. But in both cases, the runners-up team had come from England. Not much to discuss here. Netumbo Nandi Daitwa comes from, Namibia, where she has become the first woman president of the country. Okay, Namibia's first woman president. I could have had a map here. This is South Africa, this is Namibia. Yeah, this is Angola and all this. So, Namibia, and this is Nandi Daitwa. Niger is in sub-Saharan Africa. It's basically Sahara actually. It's a country that is under military control where it's being run by a transitional government headed by Abdur Rahman Tichiani. Abdur Rahmani Tichiani. Nigeria. Bola Tinubu. Tunisia is the northernmost country in Africa. This is headed by a dictator, in other words, President Kais Saied. Botswana has a new president, Duma Boko. Why did this come? Anyway, let me clear everything. Since you would have written the other things, Duma Boko. That's the president of Botswana. George Edward Foreman, who passed away recently, was a former world heavyweight boxing champion. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1968, George Foreman, or also, he was called Joe Foreman. Okay, 1968 Summer Olympic Games in Mexico, he won the gold medal. He won the gold medal in boxing, that is heavyweight category. Okay, 1968 Summer Olympic Games at Mexico. Then I think, if I'm not wrong, 1974 or 3 sometime, basically, he won the World Heavyweight title, World Heavyweight Championship. Okay, now again, after a few years, he left the champion. He left boxing because he found the calling of God. He became a priest, a Christian priest. Again, he came back. He fought in 1997, if I'm not wrong. Sometime, 95. He became the oldest world heavyweight boxing champion. Yeah, imagine that. World heavyweight champion at the age of about 45, 46. That's something, isn't it? Yeah. He died recently, my friends. He is world famous for having challenged Muhammad Ali in what is called the Rumble in the Jungle fight. This was held in the DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo. Back in those days, times things were a lot more stable, a lot more stable than they are today in the DRC. Yeah. So Muhammad Ali defeated 4 men in that fight. It was labeled Rumble in the Jungle because it's all equatorial forest. The central government has appointed Rahul Bhave as the chairman and managing director of Industrial Finance Corporation of India, IFCI. Industrial Finance Corporation of India was started in 1948 as a DFI, Development Financial Institution. It was India's first DFI, first Development Financial Institution. The idea behind this was to encourage the private sector to set up businesses on their own. If they were in dearth of capital, they did not have enough capital, they could have approached IFCI. That was the idea. Okay. ECGC's Export and Credit Guarantee Corporation. It is headed by, I think not required for all of them. Yeah. One, we know NABARD, Shaji KV, SIDBI. Okay, let me give you the full forms, if not all the, let me clear this. This is S. Ambastha, okay. NABARD is National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, headed by Shaji KV. Small Industries Development Bank of India, Lucknow based, headed by Manoj Mittal. DICGC is Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. It guarantees all your, bank deposits. So up to 5 lakh rupees, your deposit is safe. So it's guaranteed by all of this, by this organization. It's a part of the fully owned subsidiary of the Reserve Bank of India. Ladies and gentlemen, it is currently headed by a Deputy Governor of the RBI named Michael Debabrata Patra, or simply MD Patra. MD Patra. Okay. So let's go from here. Who won, which Formula 1 driver won the 2025 Chinese Grand Prix? We pronounce it as Grand. It's French. Grand Prix. Grand Prize. Prix is French for prize. Okay. Oscar Piastri, Australian. Oscar Piastri of Australia. He drives a McLaren Mercedes. That's the name of the team. McLaren Mercedes. I'm not going to go beyond this. Lewis Hamilton holds 7 world titles, my friends. He ties with Michael Schumacher for the highest number of world championships, 7. Max Verstappen, current world champion, last 4 years he has been the world champion. So 4-time defending Formula 1 world champion. SEBI has doubled the investment threshold for foreign portfolio investor disclosures to 50,000 crore. Foreign portfolio investment is about foreign companies coming into India, investing in the stock market, mutual funds, government bonds. So when they have surplus cash, especially foreign mutual funds, sovereign wealth funds and all these, they can come to India, register the SEBI and invest in the Indian stock market. But the maximum they can invest is up to 10% of the total paid up capital of the company. So there is a company called X, and there is this foreign mutual fund, okay, which wants to buy shares in India. What it can do is it can buy shares up to 10% of the total capital of that company. So if there are 10 crore shares of the some Indian company in the market, this company, foreign company, can buy up to 1 crore shares. Okay. Beyond 1 crore, that is beyond 10%, let's call it 10%, it will be treated as foreign direct investment, as sense of ownership. In an FPI, there is no sense of ownership. You can buy shares. It's just like you and I buying. So instead of you and I as individuals buying shares of, let's say, Reliance Industries or some other company, now we would have a foreign company buying shares, bonds, mutual fund units, treasury bonds of that Government of India bonds and all. So that's about it. Nothing extraordinary about foreign portfolio investors. Foreign companies coming in, buying shares, and related related securities in Indian markets. Okay, SEBI is got a new chairperson, Securities and Exchange Board of India, the regulator of the banking sector, regulator of the stock markets and stock exchanges in India. This organization was set up in 1988, but only in 1992 it got legal powers, statutory powers, and today the chairperson is a guy called Tuhin Kanta Pandey. Tuhin, Tuhin. Okay. The monthly salary for members of parliament has been increased to 1.24 lakh rupees per month. Earlier it was 1 lakh. The last revision came about, I think, in 2018. So last time they had a pay raise was in 2018, and they say that it's been 7 years. Please increase our pay. Beat that. Okay. So they got a 24% hike, 24% from 1 lakh to 1 lakh to 24,000 per month. Please understand, they get a lot of other things. They get highly subsidized food in the parliament canteen, plus daily allowance of 2,500 rupees. Can you beat that? 2,500 rupees per day allowance is given to an MP. Plus rent-free accommodation when they are in Delhi. Yes, when they are in Delhi, they get rent-free accommodation. If their guys don't want to avail of the rent-free accommodation, they will get HRA, house rent allowance. So, by the way, what's salary of the President of India? About 5 lakh rupees per month. And what's the salary of the Vice President of India? 0. The Vice President of India gets his salary of, no salary actually. But the Vice President of India is the ex-officio chairperson of the Rajya Sabha. And as the chairperson of the Rajya Sabha, the Vice President of India gets 4 lakh rupees per month. That's how it is. Okay. Name the Indian American scientist who was confirmed as the director of the American National Institute of Health. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. I was reading about him. For ages, I've been reading about him because of his controversial stances. At least they are controversial because just before COVID broke, just after COVID broke, he wrote that masks are not required, lockdowns are not required. These are all things that are going to destroy the livelihoods of people. They are going to destroy and all that. But the American government, led by there was a Democratic government, and it was there was his NIH director called what's his name, CDC head, Dr. Anthony Fauci. He was pro lockdowns, pro masks, and all that stuff. So he persecuted Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Can you believe that? Yeah. Oh, he was hounded actually. Any which way, I was reading about him and I found that he did an MA. He was born in India, but he went abroad. He was born in Calcutta, I think. He went abroad. He did a BA and an MA in economics from Stanford University. So while at Stanford, he studied for a BA in economics and an MA in economics. Then he did Doctor of Medicine, MD. Yes, you heard it. You heard me right. BA, MA in economics from Stanford. Then MD, Doctor of Medicine from Stanford University School of Medicine. Then he became a doctor. And then he did a PhD in economics and, econometrics, health economics. What people study. BA, MA in economics. Medical doctor, super specialized doctor, that is DM, MD we can, MD. And then he became, he got into PhD. Now he's a health scientist. Health, economy. He's generally considered a health economist. Yeah. Which country has stated that it is developing a privileged strategic partnership with India? Well, of course, Russia. Russia and India have had a long-standing relationship. Before Russia, it was the Soviet Union. Now, after the disintegration of the Soviet Union in 1991, it's Russia that has taken its place. Russia is India's biggest, defense partner and one of the 5 largest trade partners of India. Okay. Turkey, the capital is Ankara. Many people think it's Istanbul. It's Ankara. Okay. And the president is a guy called Recep Erdogan. Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Let's call him Recep Erdogan. This is the president. That's a capital, my friends. Okay. The rest are easy to know. Which former cabinet secretary has been appointed as a full-time member of the Niti Aayog? Niti, as stands for National Institution for Transforming India. Let me repeat, National Institution for Transforming India. Ladies and gentlemen, it replaced the Planning Commission sometime in 2015. And, Rajiv Gauba, the former chief secretary, former cabinet secretary of the government of India, is the full-time member now. Niti Aayog is, remember one thing, the Prime Minister is the ex-officio chairperson of the Niti Aayog. So, whoever is the Prime Minister automatically becomes the chairperson of the Niti Aayog. And currently the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog is Suman Beri. Suman Beri. Okay. The CEO of Niti Aayog is BVR Subramaniam. BVR Subramaniam. Yeah. I put dots. Yeah, there are dots. BVR Subramaniam. So, Rajiv Gauba has joined. Who is the current cabinet secretary? TV Somanathan. TV Somanathan. Current cabinet secretary is TV Somanathan. In April 2025, India will host the second edition of the Asian Yogasana Sports Championship in New Delhi. There's not much that I can discuss here. That's about it. Yeah, and nothing extraordinary. But if you ever go to Madurai, you could visit the Madurai Meenakshi Mandir. That's all I can say. It's a great temple, my friends. Calcutta, you have the Botanical Survey of India, the Geological Survey of India, the Anthropological Survey of India. In Pune, you have the National Film Archive of India, National Film Archive of India. You have the National Institute of Virology. Yeah. What is the name of the first major naval exercise that India will be conducting with 10 African nations in April 2025? It will be IKME. You may wonder what could this mean. Very simple. Africa, India, Key Maritime Engagement. Can you believe this? AI is Africa. There is India. Key is key, main. M is maritime engagement. Africa, India, key maritime engagement. The first thing will be held, the first one will be held in India, and of course India plus Tanzania. It will also be held in Tanzania, my friends. So there are two places, India and Tanzania. Okay, that's about it. There's hardly anything else to discuss. Tanzania is, there is this precious stone called Tanzanite. It's named after Tanzania. It's named after Tanzania. The Indian Parliament has passed the Banking Laws Amendment Bill, which allows bank account holders to have up to 4 nominees. Currently, it's 2. Yeah, now 4. I think it's 1 or 2 now. Now they say you could have 4 nominees. What is the new tariff announced by the US President Donald Trump on all imported vehicles? The H in vehicle is silent. So we pronounce it as vehicle. Okay. Imported vehicles entering the US, not just vehicles, but also the components, the parts that enter, auto parts that enter the US will be taxed at 25%, my friends. India's exports to the US, auto exports last year were 600. Okay, let's make it in billion. I think billion is better. Yeah. This was a total $6.9 billion worth of auto components, pistons, ball bearings and all went to the US from India. Now they are going to be charged at 25% tariff, which would increase the cost of production of those companies. And those companies say that, we will get lower, we will get American companies supplying the same components, then we lose this business, my friends. So there is a great deal of angst anger, frustration at Donald Trump's moves. But in my next class, I am going to discuss reciprocal tariffs that Donald Trump has, American President Donald Trump has announced on the 2nd of April. Okay, we are on 4th. Yesterday they were announced, and I'm going to spend 15 to 20 minutes explaining to you what are reciprocal tariffs, what are the tariffs charged by India in on certain goods, how they are being charged by the US similar goods and all that. Okay, let me take you there, but in the next class. So from there we can go to the next one. DRDO, Defense Research and Development Organization. I think we had discussed this particular part. This is kind of revision for us. And the Indian Navy, led by Admiral Dinesh Tripathi. That's how I am adding value. Okay. DRDO's head is, I think, Dr. Samir Kamath. Samir Kamath. And Indian Navy's head is, chief is Admiral Dinesh Tripathi. Have successfully flight tested the indigenously developed VLSRSAM at the ITR Chandipur. Now, what is this? Vertically launched, short range, surface to air missile. Vertically launched, short range, surface to air missile. Not much is known about this except for certain parameters. Okay, but what you need to know is interim test range, my friends, is generally called the APJ Abdul Kalam Island. What is it? APJ Abdul Kalam Island. Abul Pakir Jainul Abidin Abdul Kalam was considered the father of India's missile program, and of course a former president of India as well. So guys, from there, this is about IRMA. Yes. Identify the correct statements regarding the Tribhuvan Sahakari University Bill 2025. It seeks to establish the Institute of Rural Management, Anand, as a university to be known as Tribhuvan Sahakari University. A full stop is missing there. Okay. It is named after Tribhuvan Bhai Das Patel. There must be Tribhuvan Das Bhai Patel, who laid the foundation of Amul. Okay, it's already there. So let me tell you a bit about Amul itself. Amul, my friends, is Anand Milk Union Limited. What is it? Anand Milk Union Limited. That is how. It also means Amul. It also is Amulya, which is priceless. Okay. So Anand Milk Union Limited was started in 1946. It's a part of what is called GCMMF, Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. Let me repeat. Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation. It's headed by J.N. Mehta. J.N. Mehta. J.N. Mehta. And now one more thing. IRMA and all was started by Tribhuvan Das Patel. Tribhuvan Das Patel. Amul was also started by this man. Tribhuvan Das Patel. Okay. In fact, Tribhuvan Das Patel and Varghese Kurian, who later Varghese Kurian was a deputy of this man. Varghese Kurian, together are called the fathers of India's White Revolution. The fathers of India's White Revolution. White Revolution is about increasing milk production. Okay, there are two things here: increasing milk production in rural areas and its consumption in urban areas. That's important. Consumption in urban areas has to be increased, and rural areas production has to be increased, because rural areas there's a lot of livestock and all. If it could be procured from rural areas, milk could be procured and sold in urban areas, it would bring farmers an additional source of income. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Tribhuvan Das Patel and Varghese Kurian are together called the fathers of India's milk revolution, White Revolution, also called Operation Flood. In most journals, you would find only Varghese Kurian to be the father of India's milk revolution. In fact, his boss, Tribhuvan Das Patel, started Amul, my friends. You should know this. Yeah. That's all from me, Bharat Jain. Please make sure you subscribe to our, our social media handles and all. Thank you for being here. Stay curious.